Okay. Hello, friends. Let me just give a second to make sure this is on and going. Okay, just popping into my own stream to make sure that I can hear myself. It's working. Um, okay, it is, but I'm so quiet. I wonder why. I feel like I haven't been this quiet before, so I'll try to talk up. I'll just try to find a book that makes me really mad and then I'll get animated. Okay, but that should be okay. So I'll close that and try to keep the mic close to my face. And yeah, so whew, okay. I know I'm streaming again very soon after, but it just worked out that I had time. Chris didn't need the computer this afternoon, so I'll try to stream for like 2 or 3 hours, and we'll see. But I'm excited. This has been so fun, and I know next month I'll be probably a little bit busier. So anyway, I do want to do organizing and stuff, but I also had some books that I had like wanted to add to my read shelf really quickly, so I wanted to do that as well. Here, let me see. Just trying to grab them. Okay, so I did something a little silly, although maybe not, because this is good. It was one of the older things on my shelf. And by my shelf, I mean my Goodreads TBR, The Gunslinger. I had already gone through and I had categorized it and stuff. It was from April 2014, so over 10 years, and I am trying to go through and clear stuff off that's over 10 years old, especially. I'm like, oh, I want to keep that pile down, not continue to let stuff tick past that. So I did try it out. It wasn't even something that I was planning on like trying anytime soon, but someone in my family checked it out on audio, so I was like, I'll give it a shot while it's checked out through Libby, and I did, and it just wasn't for me. It just had some like crude, like potty humor and stuff, and I just wasn't enjoying the vibe of reading it. So I'm just gonna add this to my DNF shelf, because sometimes if I DNF a book super early on, I just delete it and don't add it to my shelf as a DNF. And then sometimes I do, and it kind of just depends on like how soon I DNF it and how much of an impression it left on me and things like that. But I think this is like a significant enough one that it's like, yeah, I want to mark that I did try this, because I think that's like an interesting record in my reading history. Sometimes if it's like a book that I don't think I don't know. It depends. Sometimes when I just delete it or mark it as DNF. Anyway, DNF, and I only got to 7%. Which, oh, I don't know why I did that. And this was on the 27th, so a couple days ago I did this. And I didn't think it was like the worstest of the worstest things that I'd ever read. I think actually the world seemed quite interesting, and like what was happening in the plot was quite interesting and stuff. Again, it was just like the potty humor. and I can take it off all the shelves that it's on and just put it in there. And that's that. So seeing that so then I can also show some other things that I do when I've been adding a book to a shelf, or adding a book to my thread. So I'm also gonna put it in my Storygraph, which I went through and deleted my entire TBR from Storygraph because I don't find the TBR very helpful on there, so I just deleted everything, and I did a big transfer before I did a transfer of my TBR on Storygraph like in 2019. So a bunch of the stuff that was on there was just not really applicable, so I deleted it all probably a month or two ago. So now I have nothing on my TBR on Storygraph. Anyway, so I can add this to that as well. I got 7% in. And it's nice because on Storygraph it will calculate that percent of pages or whatever. I've done 14,500-ish pages so far this year, according to Storygraph. So, okay, and then something else I've been doing is this is for my cross stitch, is that I chose cross stitch projects that were on the larger side and associated them with book genres. And then I have been, whenever I read books from specific genres or DNF books from specific genres, I put however many pages I read of that book into the project associated with the genre. So that's what this spreadsheet is. So I have a key, but then I also made like a table or whatever. So I can start adding these in. So on the 27th, I did The Gunslinger. By Stephen King. Is that how you spell his name? Yeah. And I got 7% of the way through however long this book is. So I just do it with a calculator that I grabbed the total pages of the book, which is 251 times 0.07, which is 17 and a half pages, or 17 and a half. So I'm just going to do 17 pages or 17 stitches. Oh, hello. Bookmarking Life with Elizabeth. Ah, that's a cute name. Hi. You'll be watching the replay. Well, thanks for popping in. What is wrong with you two having lives? That's so rude. Well, I hope you both have a good time doing what you're doing, and I appreciate you stopping in and saying hi. I appreciate it. Much love. Okay. I know, I was like, is Friday night a good time to do this or a bad time to do this? Maybe a bad time. I hope you enjoy your weekend too. I will. We're gonna do fun stuff. It'll be good. Oh yeah, I totally get it. Whenever I'm going on vacation, the day before, I'm always out shopping. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to get this and this and this. So I totally understand. You are good. I hope you're able to find everything you need and get all your errands run. Okay. so, but I appreciate you both popping in. Y'all are so great. Okay, so I have like the genre and the project just to help me like keep track, and they're color coded, and then whenever I do like the stitches into the project, I do it here and mark it blue just so that I'm like, know what is going on. And then I also put them into a separate spreadsheet, and then I know how many I have to do in total for that genre. Like, I have a lot I need to do in sci-fi. 400 stitches. But I only owe 42 for horror, so I can like let them tally up. Because for these projects, mostly I can do like 200 to 300 stitches per hour, because most of these are half stitch projects, not full cross, so like they're a little bit faster. So I don't like to work on them unless there's like 200 stitches that need doing. So if I'm have a bunch of short books or DNFs or stuff like that, I'm okay letting them like build up a little bit. Anyway, I don't know if any of this makes sense. I don't know if you care at all, but this is how I've been adding books to my spreadsheets. Another book that I recently decided to drop was on the same day was Other Lands, which I really wanted to love, but I just couldn't get into it. I read the first like 7% of this twice, and I just could not vibe with it. A Journey Through Earth's Extinct Worlds. It sounds right up my alley, and I don't know if it's just the writing or what, but like it is honestly kind of mind numbing to me for some reason. I don't know why. I tried it when I was like in the airport the other day, and I could not concentrate at all, and I'm like, oh, it's just because I'm stressed at the airport. It's just because it was like I was really sleepy and just out of it, and I had not gotten enough sleep and everything, and I was like, oh, okay, it's just, ooh, I like this cover. It's just that vibe. I was like, oh, it's just this issue. So then I started over completely from the beginning again when I was home and very much wanted to read it and couldn't vibe with it. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. Everybody else loves this and thinks it's so interesting as a 4.1. I don't know what's wrong with me. But I got over 5% of the way into it both times, and I couldn't get into it, so I don't know. I think I'm just going to leave it on my want to read and try it again later. But I am going to put it into my spreadsheet because I think it's fun to still put the stitches into the project, just because, I don't know, because it's fun. And then I can grab the length of the book. I think I'm going to try it again maybe in the future, in a couple of years or something. And maybe it'll be more my vibe then. But I also got exactly 0.07% of the way into that, which is, or 7% of the way into that, so, which is 26 or 27 stitches. So this should have been my vibe. I don't know why it wasn't. And this is science and nature nonfiction. I'm so sad. But I'm not going to add it to my DNF shelf. I was considering, I'm afraid that if I just deleted it, that I would like re-add it again in the future. That in a couple of years I would forget and be like, ooh, this looks so good. So I think it's one that I wouldn't need to add to my DNF list if I did decide that I was going to not continue with it. But I think I'll be willing to give it a try again in a couple more years. And then I read a couple children's books the other night, also on the 27th. I read... Oh no. Minderella. I wonder if there's a better cover for this now. Probably not. No, this is the best cover for the one that I had. But Minderella by Margaret Snyder, apparently. It says first published 1999. Oh, yeah. But that's wrong. It's 1995 was first published. That's so weird. Okay. And I was trying to fulfill some prompts for something specific, and it wanted me to read something with sparks on the cover, and I was like, this has sparkles on the cover. Yes, I'm definitely doing the magical readathon in September, and I have all my prompts listed out, and I'm so excited. Yes, for surezies. I'm gonna try to do all the prompts because I'm crazy, and I just like doing all the prompts, but I should probably actually choose my full, like, my specialized category. I'll probably be like a librarian type thing, I think is what I've like honed in on in the past, but I haven't even looked at them, honestly. My brain has felt very full. I have not felt like reading the what are they called, careers or whatever, but I've chosen some kind of librarian in the past. But I always try to do all the prompts anyway. But I do have, I didn't open it, but I do have all my prompts picked out. All my books picked out, I mean. So, we'll see what happens. I probably won't make it to all of them, but that's why I'm like, I should choose which one I want to do and then just try to do as many extra as I can and not try to read 42 books in 1 month. Since that's a little excessive. I don't know if you're on your phone, if this is too hard to see, but anyway. It's good, and I have to read a lot in order to get it all done every day. So I'm going to try to do that, and if I end up getting stressed and falling behind, then I'll just dial it back, calm it down. Like, what was I doing? Minderella. Okay. I'm going to give Minderella, I don't know, 3 stars. It's very silly. This is a childhood book for me. It's silly, and it was a good time reading it, but I don't think it's like spectacular. Also, I don't know if you're still here, Elizabeth, but are you doing magical readathon? I suspect you are, but I'm curious if you are. This is so rude. Are you telling me that Storygraph doesn't have Minderella? See, this is the thing with Storygraph. I do love Storygraph, but they don't have all the books, and that's bullshit. Ugh. Oh yeah, I don't think they have it. Like who? Snyder? didn't put a space. Oh no, they do have it. Why was it not showing up? I hate that also. Their search function is very bad. Like, if you search for the exact name of a book, it won't come up, but all the other books will come up. Okay, well, I'm glad I looked at the author's name, because that was really stupid. Oh. And Margaret Snyder. But this happens every time I try to look up, what is it called? The one with the vampire, woman eating. Every time I look that up, it's always like the 15th search down, even though there's no other books with that title. Even if you put in like the comma after woman, comma eating, it's like, it doesn't come up right at the top. And I'm like, I'm obviously looking for the book Woman Eating. Like, why are you not coming up first? This is so stupid. Okay. How many pages is this? I have the book in front of me, so I'm just going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're going to say it's 24 pages. Okay. And then I read another book, another children's book, which is Hedgie's Surprise. And this is a Jan Brett I had not read before. And it was interesting. Illustrations gorgeous as always. And I think I especially enjoyed knowing that like Jan Brett is a huge chicken lover. Like, she enters like chicken contests and things like that. Like, that was like, I learned that from a different book, so that makes it extra fun that like the chicken is like the main character in this book and is like on every single page and stuff, and it's like, oh, Jan Brett loves chickens, this is so fun. But it was not like my favoriteest Jan Brett ever. I really loved this bit though. Like, the outside bit was around the outside of every page, and it's needlepoint, and that was so fun to look at. Because I do cross stitch, and it's very similar to needlepoint, and I've used some needlepoint patterns to cross stitch before and stuff, so I'm still gonna give it 3 stars, but like, I really liked the illustrations. Okay. And I've never heard anybody talk about this Jan Brett. And I saw that it was 32 pages. And these are both fantasy and nothing else. Okay. Alright, and that's what I've been doing every time I add a book to my read shelf and stuff, which I've been meaning to do for a couple days for these. Yeah. Basically, I was working on last year's magical readathon since I wasn't reading last year, really. So this is what last year's looks like. So I've been trying to go through and knock off the last few from last year in the last few days of the month. So I found a bunch of picture books that fit it off of my shelf, because then I'm also like, oh, I can either decide to keep them or unhaul them afterwards. But I was very proud of this one. Book that was traditionally published being after being self-published, Peter Rabbit. Because I was like, there's no way I'm going to find a picture book that fits for this. But Peter Rabbit was self-published first, and then was traditionally published afterwards. So I thought I was very clever for that one. And it will take me like 5 minutes to read, so that will be fun. But I was like, I think I'll be able to finish all of these, and if not, I think I'll be able to finish most of them in the last couple days. The only ones I don't have is Food on the Cover and Color Wheel for the title, but most of those will fit, because the color that I got was like an off-white, and I'm like, there's probably like 8 million children's books I have on my shelf that fit that. Oh, and last book you bought or borrowed. And I'm like, oof, I don't even know. Anyway, now, with all that a-doing, let's get on to what we're here for. Organizing my Goodreads. So last time I finished with Dragonsbane, and then over the last few days, I did a few more. So I went through all of these, and I stopped right here. Oh, that's such an oh, it wouldn't have been an awkward place to stop, except for I ended up finishing, I just took the Gunslinger off, and so now this book went from the previous page on. Because I'm like, we're at 120 books now, but now we're at 119. So, we lost some progress. Anyway, I'm just going to open that one up, and then we're going to move on to the next page as well, so that I don't lose that progress. Okay. Merely Magic. This is older romance. Has an okay rating. Okay, magic is in her birthright. Because I do like the idea of, like, historical fantasy romance, but I also worry about it being very rapey. So, okay. The magic is in her birthright. The daughter of one of the strongest magical lineages, Ninian. Oh no. What a name. Ninian Malcolm Siddons is a powerful witch, determined to only use her magic for good. She lives a simple, solitary life as a healer in a village. When she meets Drogo, a man of science, doesn't believe in anything he can't see. Lord Drogo Ives believes only logic and science can explain the wonders of the universe, and doesn't believe the local folklore about Malcolm witches and Ives men until he meets Ninian. Despite the odds against them and their many differences, the bond between Drogo and Ninian grows stronger each moment they are together, until the chaos and danger surrounding them forces them to decide their love or their lives? Jeez. I do believe I own this one that I picked up from the Book Barn for like $1. Okay. Not my cup of tea. I just couldn't care about the characters. Valid. tortured hero, cutie pie magic, and abstracted heroine. Thinking positive thoughts that actually affect the outcome of trial, rapey, tangential villains, mysterious, he did it or he didn't, he killed his wife, he killed his wife plot. Okay. I kind of want to, I don't know, it's one of those things where it's like I almost want to try it just for the sake of it. But I don't think it would be my cup of tea, and I don't think I would like it. I don't know. I think maybe I'll keep it on my, I don't know, should I keep it on my TBR? Oh, I'm so, because look at how I don't know. I'm, should I be embarrassed to say that I really like this cover? It just looks so, like, magical. I mean, I kind of wish she was gone. I wish it was just her. But I'm like, I just like the castle and all the greenery and like, it's just pretty, you know? Romance, historical fiction, fantasy. Ooh, I guess I'll keep it for now. I kind of feel like I should do like a self-destructing. Like, if I don't read this by this amount of time, it will detonate. Like Becca from Becca in the books. I don't know. I'll keep it. I own it, so it's like, ugh. But I feel like I'm being lenient on it just because the cover looks so whimsical. But I probably will DNF it and dislike it. Okay. Packing for Mars. So this is definitely one that I want to read. The only book I've read is by Mary Roach is Stiff. The Curious Science of Life in the Void. But I definitely want to read more books by her. Let's see. I DNF'd Gulp, apparently, which I have completely forgotten that I did. See, I DNF'd it at 41%. Jeez. See, this is why I mark things as DNF'd, because otherwise I would have forgotten that I ever picked this up. 41%, I did not remember ever touching this book. Definitely Packing for Mars is the one I'm most interested in by her. But I'm interested in maybe trying some of the other ones. Anyway. Space is a world devoid of the things we need to live and thrive. Air, gravity, hot showers, fresh produce, privacy, beer. That's kind of, I think also maybe some of my issue with Mary Roach is I don't think her humor totally always like vibes with me as well. And I don't know if that's why I DNF'd Gulp, because I genuinely never knew I even started it. If you had given me $1 million to ask me if I had ever picked up Gulp, I would have gotten that wrong. So, but I think that was also some of my issue with Steph, is just like the way she like talks about things, I think doesn't always vibe with me. But I definitely do want to give this a try, but I don't know if it will totally be my cup of tea. I'm guessing it would probably be like a 3 or 4 star, which is what most of my friends seem to think, is that it was like a 4 star. And that matches with the reviews as well. Anyway. Science, nature, nonfiction. I think it would be a fun, like, winter read because I love reading sci-fi in winter, but I also put it for spring. Okay, Dawn of Wonder. This was such a big, like, fantasy book when it came out on Goodreads. I mean, as you can see, like, it got so many awards when it came out. But I have no idea what it's about. I'm pretty sure Chris liked it and read it. Well, he definitely read it. Yeah, he really liked it. 4.5 stars. Okay. When a high-ranking officer gallops into the quiet, misty vales, he brings a warning that shakes the country folk to their roots. But for Aiden, a scruffy young adventurer with veins full of fire and a head full of ideas, this officer is not what he seems. The events that follow propel Aiden on a journey that only the foolhardy or desperate would risk, leading him to the gates of the nation's Royal Academy, a whole world of secrets in itself. But this is only the beginning of his discovery. Something is stirring in the land, something more ominous than the rising threat of hostile nations. Fearful travelers whisper of an ancient power breathing over Thurna, changing it, waking it. In the very heart of these stirrings, Aiden encounters that which defies belief, leaving him speechless with terror and wonder. I didn't know this was a series. Oh. Well, that would explain it. That there were supposed to be 2 more books and they never came out, because I was like, I've literally never heard of more books coming out. So I think that alone is like a good enough reason to take this off. But also it just didn't sound that interesting. Doesn't sound like what I'm interested in reading anymore. And I think it would be sad to like read it, and if it is really good, then being like, oh dang, I really wish I could read more. So I'm happy to let that go. Oof. Okay. I think I want to read this one. Okay, Study in Scarlet Women. With her inquisitive mind, Charlotte Holmes has never felt comfortable with the demureness expected of the fairer sex in upper class society, but even she never thought that she would become a social pariah, an outcast fending for herself on the mean streets of London. When the city is struck by a trio of unexpected deaths, and suspicion falls on her sister and her father, Charlotte is desperate to find the true culprits and clear the family name. She'll have helped her friends, new and old, a kind-hearted widow, a police inspector, and a man who has long loved her. But in the end, it will be up to Charlotte, under the assumed name Sherlock Holmes, to challenge society's expectations and match wits against the unseen mastermind. Okay, so she has to pretend to be a man. This has been on my TBR for so long. I think it's definitely worth giving a try. I've been interested in trying it so long. And like after what not a vibe the gosh, what are they called? Is it Mary Russell books ended up being? I think I would enjoy. I would love to find like some kind of Sherlock Holmes series that I do enjoy. Oh, it's so long now though. It's like, oh, if I had started this when it came out and when I first put it on my TBR, then maybe I wouldn't be 8 books behind. But yeah, historical fiction, mystery, romance. Okay. Oh, why did I say fantasy? Historical fiction, mystery, romance. Seems very autumnally wintry. But yeah, Mary Russell. The Beekeeper's Apprentice, which I loved. Gave it like 4.5 stars, I think. Oh, well, just 4 according to this. But I really, really loved this book. But I do not like the direction that this series ends up taking at all. And it's a really long series, so I wish I did. But I think the direction the series takes is fucking gross. So I was very disappointed. And so I'm like, I would love to find some other kind of like fun, like female lead, like Sherlock Holmes vibe that I can enjoy. And I know there's also like obviously what is the one that Books and Lala likes? I've read the first one. It's not Sherlock Holmes, but it's like the etymologist lady. Is that not? That's not even the right word. Entomology. And I've read that first one, but you know, there's just something different when it is actually Sherlock Holmes. Okay. Ghost Talkers. Mary Robinette Kowal has been a little bit of a hit and miss author with me. More hits than misses, but okay, Ginger. I'm not gonna say that. Ginger, an American heiress living in London during World War I, is engaged to Captain Benjamin Harford, an intelligence officer. Ginger is a medium for the Spirit Corps, a special spiritualist force. Each soldier heading for the front is conditioned to report to the mediums of the Spirit Corps when they die, so the Corps can pass instant information about troop movements to military intelligence. Ginger and her fellow mediums contribute a great deal to the war efforts, so long as they can pass the information through appropriate channels. While Ben is away from the front, Ginger discovers the presence of a traitor. Without the presence of her fiancé to validate her findings, the top brass thinks she's just imagining things. Even worse, it is clear that the Spirit Corps is now being directly targeted by the German war effort. Left to her own devices, Ginger has to find out how the Germans are targeting the Spirit Corps and stop them. This is a difficult and dangerous task for the women of the era, but this time both the spirit and the flesh are willing. Okay. One, I'm so surprised how little ratings this has. But Chris has recommended this to me personally. He said that he thinks I would really like this. So I'm definitely going to give it a try. I was just interested in reading it because I didn't really know too much what it was about. Shades of Milk and Honey was a DNF for me, and I thought it was terrible. If you have read historical fiction, fantasy, historical fiction, mystery, but also, if I don't vibe with this, I will not blame Chris because he did recommend it to me like in 2016. So it's not my fault. It's not his fault if I don't like it because maybe I would have liked it in 2016. I finished this and I gave it 3 stars? What the fuck? I swear I DNF'd this and I didn't like it. I'm so confused. I feel honestly gaslit by my own brain. I swear I DNF'd this and gave it 3 and gave it not good rating. But apparently I did finish it, so I don't know why I thought that I didn't like this book. That's very interesting. My brain feels lied to. But if you have read the series, I would love to know if you think that it needs to be read in order, if I could just read them independently, if they're more companion or if they're more chronological. But also I'm so confused because I swear I didn't finish this book. But I gave it 3 stars, and I never rate books 3 stars if I DNF them. So I definitely finished it. And also it would have said that I DNF'd it if I... And it would be in my DNF shelf, so that was very startling to see. But also I remember finishing this and having zero desire to continue on with the series because I just felt so meh about it. I mean, and it has a 3.5 rating. Like, I really didn't super drive with it. But, like, does the series get substantially better? Because I love the idea of it. Like, Regency, fantasy, romance, like, sounds so fun. And then I did read The Spare Man, and I quite liked it. And I've read the first 2 of the Lady Astronauts books, and I really liked them. But also I'm surprised that this wasn't a DNF, so I don't know what is going on. At all. My brain kind of hurts right now because of that. So if you have any thoughts about Mary Robinette Quall, let me know. Caraval. Okay, so I read the first, maybe, holy shit, this has 800,000 ratings. I'm shocked, honestly. Damn, Stephanie Garber, you're making bank. Also, this is a much better cover. May I just say. I read the first, I don't know, 3rd, 4th of it. No. I wanted to say 30 or 40% of it. Years ago. Maybe like 5 years ago. And I was enjoying it, but I was just like busy and put it down and never picked it back up. But I also wasn't like interested or vibing enough to pick it back up. So I don't know. I'm just trying to think if it's like worth continuing. Is it worth picking it back up? I don't think I will like this enough that it would be like a new favorite. So I think I should probably just like delete it off my TBR. Has Stephanie Garber... Is her newest book gonna be YA as well? No, her new book is gonna be adult. A contemporary fantasy. I don't know. Just interesting. I don't know. The only thing that's like making me feel like, oh, I should keep reading this. I should pick it back up. Oh, oof. Not even gonna open that. I don't know why this is still on my TBR. Neil Gaiman, R.I.P. Actually, not rest in peace. Get off my fucking TBR. The only thing that makes me want to keep going with this is that I do own it physically, but I'm like, at this point, like, I don't think it's worth it. I think I should just let it let it go live its life somewhere else. Because since I put it down however many years ago, like, I've never been very interested in picking it back up, even though I did enjoy what I read of it perfectly fine. Okay. The Crooked Sixpence by Jennifer Bell. I actually really like this cover. I think that the color palette is just very aesthetic. Welcome to a world where nothing is quite as it seems. When their grandmother, Sylvie, is rushed to the hospital, Ivy Sparrow and her annoying big brother, Seb, cannot imagine what adventure lies in store. Soon their house is ransacked by unknown intruders, and a very strange policeman turns up on the scene, determined to apprehend them. With a toilet brush, Ivy and Seb make their escape, only to find themselves in a completely uncommon world, a secret underground city called Lundior, where ordinary objects have amazing powers. There are belts that enable their wearers to fly, yo-yos that turn into weapons, buttons with healing properties, and other enchanted objects capable of very unusual feats. But the forces of evil are closing in fast, and when Ivy and Seb learn that their family is connected to one of the greatest uncommon treasures of all time, they must race to unearth the treasure and get to the bottom of a family secret before it's too late. Do I think this sounds like it's gonna be like the best book I've ever read of all time? No. Do I think it sounds like very cute and fun? And do I want to give it a shot? Yeah. So I'm gonna do that. Fantasy mystery. Do I have huge bias based on how much I like the cover? Maybe? Don't judge me. I'm gonna put it in winter as well. Okay, The Witch's Vacuum Cleaner. I feel like maybe I've already read this and never actually marked it, which is quite possible. Or maybe I only read the first one. I don't know. I've definitely read one of his short story collections, but I thought I had read two for some reason. Maybe I didn't. Sir Terry, I wonder what the stories in this are. Like, did somebody list them out? Okay, The Great Train Robbery, Truly Terrible Toothache, The Frozen Feud, Darby and the Submarine. I'm like, these aren't necessarily ringing a bell, so I'm like, maybe I haven't read them. Okay, well, I'm definitely gonna read it because I really like Terry Pratchett. And fantasy. Okay. Okay. The Illustrated Cider with Rosie. Let's click on another edition so we can actually see the description of the book. Okay, so at all times wonderfully evocative and poignant, Cider with Rosie is a charming memoir. I didn't realize this was a memoir of Lori Lee's childhood in a remote Cotswold village, a world that is tangibly real and yet reminiscent of a now distant past. In this idyllic pastoral setting, unencumbered by the callous father who so quickly abandoned his family responsibilities, Laurie's adoring mother becomes the center of his world as she struggles to raise a growing family against the backdrop of the Great War. The sophisticated adult author's retrospective commentary on events is endearingly juxtaposed with that of the innocent, spotty youth, permanently prone to tears and self-absorption. Jesus, what a sentence. Rosie's identity from the novel Cider with Rosie was kept secret for 25 years. She was Rose Buckland, Lee's cousin by marriage. Okay. That is such a cute cover. Okay. So, I feel like this was on my radar, yeah, maybe because of Kate. But yeah, definitely some people were reading it back in the day that I remember. And even though I feel like a memoir isn't my vibe, maybe an older memoir would work better for me. And the reason that I had a specific edition, the illustrated one, is because I do own this version, and it's really, really pretty, and the illustrations are pretty and stuff, so I'm gonna give it a try. But as always, remember that I'm a vicious DNFer, so if I'm not enjoying it, I don't have to read it, obviously. And also, all of these covers are like really pretty. Like, these two are so pretty. But I thought this was fiction for some reason. This is why it's good to go through these, because I'm like, oh, I had no clue that it was a memoir. That's so scary. Non-fiction. Okay. It's a fiction. It's a children's fiction animal classic. Tarka the Otter. I've never heard of it, but I really liked the cover, so I clicked on it. Oh my gosh. There's a cover illustrated by what's her face? Oh, I love this illustrator. One of my favorites. I don't think I want to read this book, but that's amazing. Oh, that is not the illustrator I was thinking of. I don't think this is the cover illustrator. What is her name? The person who did this illustration? Because I would like bet money on it being that specific lady. She like does all these like bird illustrations, and they're so beautiful. I have like notebooks with her illustrations on them. Anyway, that's okay. I think I'm just gonna delete this one right off the bat. I don't like Tessa Dare, and I was gonna try this one because it was the Beauty and the Beast retelling, but I did like the Duchess deal, so maybe I'll try her again in the future if there's like one that is really popping off that people really love, which was happening with this one. But I hated Romancing the Duke. I hated A Night to Surrender. And I feel like I'm just kind of over trying to make myself like authors who I don't like. And I am glad I tried the Duchess deal, because I did end up really liking it, even after I'd already disliked 2 of her books. This was a combined book, so it didn't really count. But I was doing that for a while with nonfiction books, and Tessa Dare's like Regency books, I don't know. I just don't care enough to read this book. I'm just gonna delete it. Get it off. Get it away from me. Okay. This Gun for Hire. I feel like this was one of the books that like historical romance readers were raving about for a long time. And they're like, oh, it's so good. It's one of the best historical romances out there. But I couldn't care less, and I'm just gonna delete it. I don't even care about reading it. This one, I specifically remember putting it on my TBR because of the Gwendolyn reading method. She did a video talking about it. She was saying, a bit of a contrived storyline, and the whole locking her away thing is a bit, fetishy for my taste, but the characters were quite good. But I remember she did like a video review way back in the day, and I just thought it was so funny, and that's why I ended up putting it on my TBR. But I don't know if I'm interested in reading it anymore. A gentleman and a very improper lady are bound together by a passion that crosses the line between upper class and underworld in Carolyn Linden's daring new romance. Also, Carolyn Linden, I've met, I think. I think I've either met her or I've met people who were like friends with her, and were like given some books I think that were like signed by her or whatever, because she is again a New Englander. But I feel like I met her, but I only ended up reading one of her books, I guess it looks like. I thought I had read more books by her than that, but also she's prolific, so maybe I did only read the one. But it was like in a casual setting. I didn't like meet her at like an author signing or anything. Like I met her at somebody's like apartment. Or I got books that were signed by her at somebody's apartment. I don't really remember. It was like in 2017 or 2018. Like it was a long time ago. And I hadn't read anything by her at that point. I don't think so. I don't know. After a wayward youth, David Reese, the youngest scion in a noble family, has been called one of the most scandalous rogues of the town. What he wants to be called is trustworthy and a true gentleman. To prove he has reformed, he's agreed to watch over his absent brother's estate and signet ring. All is going swimmingly until highwaymen waylay his coach and steal that precious ring. Street orphan Vivian Beecham has grown up a pickpocket, and a very pretty one indeed. Now she and her brother have reluctantly graduated to highway robbery, and handsome David Reese has become their victim until he tracks her down and makes her his prisoner. Locked in a spare bedroom, Vivian vows to hate her captor. Instead, she becomes a former rogue's greatest challenge, the object of a passionate seduction. Yeah, I don't think I care about reading it, but it was definitely theirs for a specific reason. Strange the Dreamer. Now, this is one I definitely want to give a shot. And I'm not even going to read it because, read the summary, I mean, because Sarah, without an H, recently did or maybe not so recently, fairly recently, I think it was Sarah without an H, did a vlog where she reread it or whatever, and she talked about it pretty recently, so I'm like fairly aware about what it's about, and I definitely want to try it. So it's fantasy. I didn't realize it was romance. But I definitely want to read it, or at least try to read it. I don't know if it gives me any specific vibes. Okay. We're making good progress. We've already deleted multiple books. I should have checked how many books were exactly on my want to read before I started. It was like 1970 something because I added a bunch to my want to read list in between last time and today. But I've already deleted like 4 or 5, so let's say it was like at 1974. So we're making good progress deleting stuff. Going down the list. Okay. The Alchemists of Loom. Elise Kova has... I've been wanting to read some of her books for a long time, but I don't know. Arcana Academy, I did not realize was... This cover looks very similar to, like, the vibe of it looks very similar to, what is it? What is it called? It doesn't look that similar, but I thought it was the same book for a while. They're not that similar, but for a second I was like, this is the same book. Speaking of, I should add this to my want to read shelf. Arcana Academy. I don't know. There's just so many books that she's published and come out with and everything. If you have an opinion on Elise Kova about where I should start with her, what is her best series. I know Riley Marie was just binging one of her series. I don't remember which one it was, and she really loved it. So, if you have an opinion, let me know, because I want to try something by her. And if... I mean, obviously starting with her best would be a good idea, because then I'd be sure to love it. But this is young adult, and that is young adult, new adult, so maybe that's better, but like young adult's a little iffy. The Dragon King holds Loom in his bloody claws, and one woman has vowed to be his demise. Ariana lost everything when she once loved when the 5 guilds of Loom fell to the Dragon King. Now, as one of the world's most notorious thieves, she uses her unparalleled gift for merging magic and machine to take on any job that will thwart Loom's tyrannical oppressors. Vare? I don't know how you say a C and a V together. Vare? Like, ugh, I don't know. Vare would do anything to see his sister usurp the Dragon King. His family's house has endured the shame of being the lowest rung on dragon society for far too long. You've only read the Air Awakened series by her, and you think her newer stuff is probably better from what you've heard. Oh, thank you so much, Danielle. I appreciate the input. Okay, and this is even... Oh, I think this is newer than the Air Awakened. Air Awakened is her oldest, right? Okay, that's good input, thank you. Oh, maybe it's not her oldest. Oh, no, it is. Okay. Is Air Awakened what Riley was just reading, though? Oh, yeah. This is what she was just reading. I think those are the only ones that she's read by her. And she did like those ones, but... Oh, look, she's been binging all her... Yeah. Although she hasn't been rating them, so... Maybe she didn't think they were worth rating. But she just binged the whole Air Awakened series. Okay. That's helpful. Thank you. Um, I. Yeah. Like, what does this new one say? Oh, nothing, because it's not out yet. Okay. That's not very helpful. Um. And it does say it's young adult, and I would prefer to be reading adult books. Dawn with the Wolf Knight. This is adult. Okay. But it doesn't have great ratings. Second chance, long lost love, life changing, female friendships, deep lore, forbidden romance, slow burn, and a happily ever after. Okay. Hey, let me go back to Alchemist of Loom. Let me see. Reagan gave it 4 stars. Melanie gave it 4 stars. Oh, Melanie. I miss Melanie. She releases so much that you fell so far behind. I get that. That's the problem with some of these self-published authors. That's how I feel with Helen Harper. Oof. It's been rough trying to keep up with her books. Like, I'd actually read many of her books at the beginning, and now I'm like, oh, there's like 20 I haven't read. Or more. Thanks for that. Like, oof. Yeah, because Helen Harper has too many frickin' books. And so many of her books are so mid, too. And it's like, they're fun to read, but then they often don't, I don't know. I don't know if I should keep reading her or not. Because, like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I've ever read a 5-star book by her. I'm like, maybe I should just stop. Maybe I should give up on Helen Harper. Because when I first started reading her, I started reading her in 2017 when I was reading these, and they came out in 2017, so I was like right on point. And then I was reading these as they were released, and it was super easy and great to catch up on. And I was reading all these as they were really released, and then I stopped reading her for like 2 years or something, and it was like all of this came out, and I was like, Jesus Christ. So yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I should give up on this author. Plus, I was gonna read this one because it was kind of like the next in the I DNF'd this series, the Fairy Godmother series, so I wasn't gonna read this one, so I was like, oh, I'll just pick up in the next one. And it was the main character's like a police officer or something, and I was like, oof, I don't want to read propaganda shit. Like, I mean, it's, yeah, I don't know, especially a whole series about it. So I was just like, oh, I feel like it also feels different. Like, if you're reading books with police officers and it's the real world, it feels different than if you're reading like fantasy police officers or stuff. And this is like, no, this is like real world police officer, but with fantastical stuff happening. And it's like, that feels different than like if we're in a medieval fantasy-esque thing, and they're police, then I don't know, it feels different. I don't know if you understand my vibe, but so then after that, then I was like, what do I skip to then? Is it worth it? Should I just give up? Okay. Average ratings. What is the best book, single standalone book, that is the first in a series? Trial of Sorceress by Elise Kova. Isis. Oh, she's 18. Oof. Like, I'm twice her age. 18-year-old water runner Ira Landon lives her life in the shadows. The shadow of her older brother, of her magic's whispers, and of the person she's accidentally killed. She's the most unwanted apprentice in the Tower of Sorcerers until the day she decides to step out and compete for a spot in the Tournament of Five Kingdoms. Okay. I think I'll just stick to The Alchemists of Loom. It's one that's been on my TBR for such a long time. And I'll try it, and it's steampunk, and I tend to have a soft spot for steampunk. And then we'll see. Fantasy. It does say romance, so I guess I'll throw it under romance as well. Okay. Fantasy, romance. Steampunk always feels very like autumnal and wintry to me. Marjorie Emmylou. I've been wanting to try this one for so long. This is the same author who wrote Monstrous, I think. And yes. And I haven't read anything by her, but her books have been on my radar for so long. Okay. He looks out of place in Dela Reese's Beijing hotel room. Exotic and poignant. Oof. Some mythic, tragic hero of an epic tale. With his feline yellow eyes, he's like nothing from her world. Yet Dela has danced through the echoes of his soul and knows this warrior will obey her every command. Sorry, excuse me. Hari has been used and abused for millennia, but he sees upon his release from the riddle box that this new mistress is different. There is a hidden power in Dela's eyes, and with her he may regain all that was lost to him. Oh no, is this a... Oh, that feels icky. Is this a romance between like a captive? Oh no, okay. Where once he savaged, now he must protect. Where once he only knew hatred, now he must embrace love. Dela is the key. For Dela, he will risk all. Oof. That does not sound like a good vibe. I don't think I like that. Okay, I wanna... Sometimes I like if something's giving me a weird grossness. I like checking out the 1-star reviews just to see like if there's anything that people say. because I just don't like the idea of, like, she releases him. Well, it's a person from a box, so basically like a djinn being released or whatever. And then now he's in love with her or whatever. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna delete this one. This one seems... Maybe it's not as weird and off as it sounds, but, like, it sounds off. And also, even if, I don't know, maybe she's not human, but is she human? Is she a shapeshifter? Because, like, if he's, like, 2,000 years old and she's, like, I don't know. It just feels like there's going to be weird power imbalances, and that's not my favorite thing ever. I'm just gonna drop that. But next we have another Marjorie Liu to look at. Silver smoke winds around my torso, peeling blah 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 blah. Okay. By day, her tattoos are her armor. By night, they unwind from her body to take on forms of their own. Demons of the flesh turned into flesh. This is the only family demon hunter Maxine Kiss has ever known. It's the only way to live, and the very way she'll die. For one day, her demons will abandon her for her daughter to assure their own survival, leaving Maxine helpless against her enemies. But such is the way of the Earth's last protector, the only way standing between humanity and the demons breaking out from behind the prison veil. It is a life lacking in love, reveling in death until one moment and one man changes everything. This sounds cooler. This feels more up my vibe. More up my alley. Okay. Oh, it doesn't have the greatest ratings, but that's okay. I'll still try it. The writing was choppy and confusing. That's okay. I'll still try it. Because it sounds gripping, and I would love to try more, like, urban fantasy. And I do want to try some of Marjorie Liu's books, as well as her graphic novel. I need to try Monstrous. I own the first one, so that needs to happen. I think I'm going to put it in every season. Okay. A skeleton in the family. Most families have skeletons in their closets. ... Moving back into her parents' house with her teenage daughter has not been Georgia Thackeray's plan A, but when she got a job at the local college, it seems the sensible thing to do. So she's settled in and began reconnecting with old friends, including Sid. Sid is the Thackeray's family skeleton. He's lived in the house as long as Georgia can remember. Although no one, including Sid, knows exactly where he came from and how he came to be a skeleton. Sid walks, he talks, he makes bad jokes, he tries to keep Georgia's dog from considering him a snack. and he manages to persuade Georgia to let him leave the house. But when she takes him to an anime convention disguised as a skeleton, of course, he sees a woman who triggers memories of his past. Now he's determined to find out how he died with Georgia's help. But their investigation may uncover a killer who's still alive and well, and bad to the bone. Very silly. So there was this lady who used to come and sit at the back of the bookstore and like read sections of books to like decide what to like buy and take home. And I was talking to her one day. This was like in 2017 when I added this, and she was telling me about this book and saying that I had to read it, blah 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 blah. So I added it to my Goodreads. What a great cover this is. This is so funny. And I haven't. And like, this is kind of one of those books I was talking about. It's like, do I actually want to read it, or is it just one of those guilt things that I felt like I needed to read it? And like every time I saw her, she was like, have you read that book yet? Like, she was like very like, you need to read this book, even though I didn't read mysteries at the time, and it was like very not my up of my alley. It really does sound very funny. I think it would be worth trying. And as far as like cozy mysteries go, it does sound like better than a lot of them, to be honest. So I think I'm gonna actually keep it on my TBR. I just have felt like for almost the past like 8 years or however long this has been on my TBR, I've just felt like so much guilt about not having read this book and stuff, even though I haven't seen this lady in like years. I think I'm gonna switch to this cover though, because I think this cover is really funny. I think it's cute. Maybe this will reinvigorate me. So mystery, fantasy, fun. Okay. Oof. Okay. This is one that I don't know. I've never really had a desire to read, but I felt like I should read because it's like one of those pinnacles of the like romance genre. I think it's a sports romance. And Phoebe's not prepared for the Stars' head coach. Blah blah blah. I don't know. I don't care about sports romance. I'm just going to delete this book off my TBR. I've never read any Susan Elizabeth Phillips. It has really good ratings. Like, people really, really love this author. But I don't know. I feel like if I'm reading romance nowadays, like, I want it to have some sort of fabulism or speculative twist, or I need it to be queer. Like, I need something besides that. So off you come. I don't care about you. And I felt like I should read it because I was listening to a lot of like podcasts that were like, yes, this is such like a staple. This is blah blah blah. And I'm like, ugh, I don't care. And then also I can delete Neil Gaiman. Goodbye, Neil Gaiman. Yeah. I think I was thinking about deleting Neil Gaiman like a few months ago or whenever, because I hadn't updated my Goodreads in so long. That I was like, oh, I should delete all these, and then I was like, wait, I should save it for when I start streaming these, because I've been thinking about streaming these for so long. So I had only thought I had deleted his book. So we're gonna come across a bunch of Neil Gaiman and be able to satisfyingly delete them together. It'll be good. Okay. Cold Comfort Farm. So we're going to have a little blitz of ones that I think we'll keep and a couple that I'm unsure of. But Cold Comfort Farm, pretty sure I still want to read. But although I don't know what it's about. When sensible, sophisticated Flora Post is orphaned at 19, she decides her only choice is to descend upon her relatives in deepest Sussex at the aptly named Cold Comfort Farm. She meets the doomed Starkadders, cousin Judith, heaving with remorse for unspoken wickedness, Amos, preaching fire and damnation, their sons, lustful Seth and despairing Reuben, child of nature, Elphine, and crazed old Aunt Ada Doom, who is kept to her bedroom for the last 20 years. But Flora loves nothing better than to organize other people. Armed with common sense and a strong will, she resolves to take each of the family in hand. A hilarious and ruthless parody of rural melodramas and purple prose, Cold Comfort Farm is one of the best-loved comic novels of all time. I don't know, I've just heard so many people say that they love this so much, and I've just been interested in trying it for so long. Although, I wish I liked more of the covers of it. This cow nose is something for sure. I'm not intrigued on adding any of these, but I guess this one's fine. And so many of my friends have really enjoyed it. Oh no, Kate did not like it though. That's okay. I'm still going to read it, but that's interesting. I'm surprised Kate doesn't like this. Having not read it myself, I feel like this is something that Kate would like. Fiction, classic. I'm excited to read it. Okay, Sleeping Giants, I definitely want to read. I don't need to read what this is about because I know what it's about very, very well. Science fiction. This is fantasy as well. Is it fantasy as well as science fiction? I guess I'll put it in that, but I've never heard anyone describe this as anything but sci-fi. Sci-fi, fantasy, mystery. Okay. I'm excited to read this. I'm surprised I haven't read it yet. Okay. And this, so Tropic of Serpents, I had read the first book back in 2017. And then I just reread it last month. So now I'm really ready to read the second book. So the second book has been sitting on my to-read shelf for the past 7 years, but now I can, or 8 years, but now I can finally pick it up. But I really liked it. It just takes me so long to continue on with the series, so this can go on my oldest sequels, and then it's fantasy and historical fiction. And I feel like this feels like an all-time read. I would want to read this any time of the year. Okay, I'm gonna leave it right here for a second and go to the bathroom, and I will be right back. Alright, friends, I am back. Okay, so where we left off. This is rough. Okay, so Heart of Steel. I really hated the first book in the series, The Iron Duke. So basically, the love scene in this book is rape. And I just could not. Oof, it was bad. And I kept the second book on my TBR because I don't know. I wanted to enjoy this world, and I really wanted to read more like steampunk romance and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know why I do this to myself where I'm like, I used to do it a lot in 2017, and I think that's why I put this on my TBRs, because like, even though I hated the first book, maybe I'll like the second book, and sometimes that does happen, or sometimes that did happen, but I mean, I don't think Mulching Book hasn't even written anything since 2014. I don't know. I just don't think I'm gonna actually continue on with the series. I'm officially taking it off the TBR, where it has been languishing for 8 years. Stupidly. And Halfway to the Grave by Janine Frost, which again also has been on the TBR for so long of wanting to read. I don't know. I really like the idea of like a paranormal romance, urban fantasy, but I think a lot of the time they don't end up working for me. I think a lot of the time they have a lot of like racism and stuff. So I don't know how this one goes in that department, but it is really highly rated. Half vampire Catherine Crawfield is going after the undead with a vengeance, hoping that one of the deadbeats is her father, the one responsible for ruining her mother's life. Then she's captured by Bones, a vampire bounty hunter, and is forced into an unlikely partnership. In exchange for helping find her father, Kat agrees to train with the sexy Night Stalker until her battle reflexes are as sharp as his fangs. She's amazed she doesn't end up as his dinner. Are there actually good vampires? Pretty soon, Bones will have her convinced that being half dead doesn't have to be all bad. But before she can enjoy her status as kick-ass demon hunter, Kat and Bones are pursued by a group of killers. Now Kat will have to choose a side, and Bones is turning out to be as tempting as any man with a heartbeat. I don't know. It has really good ratings, but actually it doesn't really sound super up my alley. Most of the people I follow or am friends with have really enjoyed it, but Hey, Anita gave it 5 stars. Elizabeth gave it 5 stars. Ange gave it 5 stars. And this series is long. 9 books? Plus a shit ton of novellas. So, I mean, the 9th one only came out in 2023, so it's still being published, basically. And somebody said it was a Buffy knockoff slash derivative, but I've never seen Buffy, so that would not affect me in any way. Okay. I think I'll try it and see how I feel. And I can always drop it if I'm not enjoying it. Paranormal romance. How much is Churchill actually in this? So Mr. Churchill's Secretary by Susan Elia McNeill. Because, I mean, I haven't known too much about Winston Churchill. Maybe I should. Maybe that's a personal flaw in my knowledge and history. But I was just watching Verily Bitchy's video about Doctor Who that just came out. And she had a quote in there from Winston Churchill about Palestinian people and how they're like inferior and deserve to be like stomped out, and it's like their own fault for being a inferior race and stuff. And it was like, oof. Oh, great. I'm like, is this pro Churchill? Like, what is this book? So that might color how if I decide to keep this on my TBR or not. And it doesn't even have that great of ratings, honestly. Let's see. And when she unravels a mystery that points towards her own family's hidden secrets, she'll discover that her quick wits are all that stands between an assassin's murderous plan and Churchill himself. Okay. In this daring debut, Susan Elia McNeill blends meticulous research on the era, psychological insight into Winston Churchill, and the creation of a riveting main character. Okay, so I think this is already doing one of my least favorite things ever anyway, which is books about real people. Like fictional books about real people is already one of my least favorite things. I hate them because I would rather just read a nonfiction book about the real person. So I'm like, I don't want to read a fictional book about Mr. Churchill's psychology. I would just rather read a nonfiction book about Mr. Churchill's psychology. Like, that would be a lot more interesting to me. I don't know. And I don't know. I think I'm just going to delete it. I don't think I care enough. Bloop. Okay, her Royal Spyness. So I read the first book in this. Well, the 0.5. The Masked Ball at Broxley Manor. And I did like it. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't like amazing or anything. Holy shit, this series is so long now. 19 books? Is this book coming out this year? When is this book coming out? It's supposed to come out this year. 19 books? Oh no. What am I getting myself into? Georgie, aka Lady Victoria Georgina. I think I'll try it, the first book, since I tried the 0.5 that I think technically came out after. Yeah, it came out like 5 years after. But I'm not like super attached, so we'll see. Um, I'm kind of scared that it's 19 books long. Ooh. Okay, so I think it's just a historical mystery. Yeah. But it's like 20s flapper or like 30s. Oh, 30s. Okay, yeah. Which is fun. I haven't missed any classics, have I? I think I've decided that a classic for the sake of these. Oh, I should have put this in classic too. Even though it's nonfiction, and this should be like classic slash fiction, general fiction. But I think I've decided for me, for this categorization, what is a classic is something that is 50 years or older. Because I feel like something mid 70s or older is like, if you're pulling up like a sci-fi book from like 1972, it's like, oh yeah, that's classic sci-fi, etc. But if you pull up something from like the 80s, maybe it doesn't feel quite as classic. So I'm like, I'm just going 50 years or older. So if it's from 76, you're shit out of luck, you're not a classic. But that's kind of how I've decided, because it's something that I've been thinking about. The Romanovs, the final chapter, the terrible fate of Russia's last Tsar and his family. In July 1991, 9 skeletons were exhumed from a shallow mass grave near Siberia, a few miles from the infamous cellar room where the last Tsar and his family had been murdered 73 years before. But were these bones of the Romanovs? And if these were the remains, where were the bones of the 2 younger Romanovs supposedly murdered with the rest of the family? Was Anna Anderson, celebrated for more than 60 years in newspapers, books, and film, really Grand Duchess Anastasia? The Romanovs provides the answers, describing in suspenseful detail the dramatic efforts to discover the truth. Pulitzer Prize winner Robert K. Macy presents a colorful panorama of contemporary characters illuminating the major scientific dispute between Russian experts and a team of Americans whose findings, along with those of DNA scientists from Russia, America, and Great Britain, all contributed to solving one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century. Wow, this is really short. It's only... I do try to put the paperback version over the Kindle version, so I'm going to switch to that, but it's only 300 to 350 pages. Very, very short for like a nonfiction. I think there's another Romanov book, which is like significantly longer. Is it this one, the Romanov sisters? Yeah, that's like 500 pages. I was thinking it might be this one, but it is not. Interesting. Yeah, that sounds super interesting. I don't know a whole bunch about the Romanovs, but I think what is interesting is like the science aspect too. So I'm gonna give that a go and see what I think. Olive gave it 4 stars. That's always a good sign of something being very good. In Olive we trust. I was like, since there is this science aspect, I'm like, should I put it in science as well? But no, I'll just put it in my other nonfiction, I suppose. Because I have 2 nonfiction categories: science and nature, and then other. But it seems like it's more on like the history side, so I'll put it there. I don't really know much about the Romanovs at all. So, okay, The Grace of Keens. I definitely want to give this a try, even though it's really, really freaking long. Way, 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 way too long. This is such a pretty cover. Ooh, I'm gonna switch to that cover. Why is that so pretty? I've never seen that before. That's so much better than the other cover. Oh, I like that. And I like these, like, orchids? Is that what that is? Is that an orchid? But whatever that is. That's so pretty. But maybe I should go back to the original one to get this. Why? Is that Wiley? Wiley Charming Kunigaru, a bandit and stern, fearless Mata Zindu, the son of a deposed duke, seem like polar opposites. Yet in the uprising against the emperor, the two quickly become the best of friends after a series of adventures fighting against vast conscripted armies, silk-draped airships, and shape-shifting gods. That sounds so cool. Once the emperor has been overthrown, however, they each find themselves the leader of separate factions, two sides with very different ideas about how the world should be run in the meeting of justice. Okay, so I'll say this now before I ever even try this book. There's a high chance I will DNF it because it's so long, and long books and me are not friends. Long books and me, I struggle to finish long books. They are just really rough on my brain. But I really want to try it. Oh no, Emily tried to read it and did not like it. I really love Emily. I've been binging. I was caught up with a bunch of her videos for a while, and then I got really far behind. So I've been... Oh, that sounds good. Medical bondage, race, gender, and the origins of American gynecology. Ooh, that sounds good. Okay. I've been binging a bunch of her videos recently, and I think we have very similar views on a lot of things with our reading and stuff. So I need to go through and add some of the books that she likes, because I will probably like them too. And then some of the books that she doesn't like. The Will of the Mini isn't on my shelves yet. That's wild. I think I would probably like that. Y'all, this is why my TBR is never gonna go down. But I don't know, just the way that she can be like very like hypercritical of books, yet still love and appreciate flaws and call out things, but then also like realize when things are commentary, and like I don't know, just like the way that she like approaches things and addresses things and everything. I just think she's very thoughtful, and I really like her a lot. And To Be Taught If Fortunate also isn't on my TBR. Oh no, there's so many books that I'm like, how is this not on my TBR? I thought it was. It's an issue. But yeah, so I'll have to go through her stuff later and add a bunch of books to my TBR. But I like her, and like I don't always agree with her opinions, but I think she's very well thought out in her opinions and gives good reasons and stuff, and I enjoy her content. Okay, let's get back to Grace of Keens. Definitely gonna try it. Can't promise I'm gonna get through it. Fantasy. People say science fiction. I guess because of the steampunk aspect. which okay. Malice. Malice was so popular when it came out. Well, I guess even after it came out, because I didn't even realize it came out in 2012 because so many people were reading it in like 2014, 2015. 2016, it's like it got all the rage. And I don't know if I could tell you what it was about. A black sun is rising. Young Corbin watches enviously as boys become warriors under King Brennan's rule, learning the art of war. He yearns to wield his sword and spear to protect his king's realm. But that day will come all too soon. Only when he loses those he loves will he learn the true price of courage. The Banished Lands has a violent past where armies of men and giants clashed shields in battle, the earth running dark with their heart's blood. Although the giant clans were broken in ages past, their ruined fortresses still scar the land. But now giants stir anew, the very stones weep blood, and there are sightings of giant worms. Those who can still read the signs see a threat far greater than the ancient wars. Sorrow will darken the world as angels and demons make it their battlefield. Then there will be a war to end all wars. I don't know. It doesn't sound bad, but it just doesn't sound very interesting to me. Like, I know so many people have loved this book and say it's like one of the better like big fantasy books and stuff, but again, like, I want something else. Like, I want some I don't know, queer representation. I want the author to like maybe be an author of color. I want like disability rep. I want like, I don't know. I just want something besides just like white men writing fantasy, if that makes sense. This is the book that Gavin was just reading on his trip because it's like Norse set. I don't know, and it's like, this doesn't sound bad, but it just doesn't sound very interesting to me. And like, I can always add her back to my TBR in the future if I want to, but like, I just don't really care about it, and I'm sorry. Like, maybe I should, but I just don't. Ugh. I just want a little diversity in my books. Okay, Egg and Spoon by Gregory Maguire. This is young adult. I thought it was middle grade, so that's very interesting. I've never looked at this cover close enough to realize that there was a little Baba Yaga hut on it. That is so fucking cute. And also there's a firebird. Ooh, so cute. Okay. In this tour de force, master storyteller Gregory Maguire offers a dazzling novel for fantasy lovers of all ages. Elena Rudina lives in the impoverished Russian countryside. Her father has been dead for years. One of her brothers has been conscripted into the Tsar's army, the other taken as a servant in the house of the local landowner. Her mother is dying slowly in their tiny cabin, and there is no food. But then a train arrives in the village, a train carrying untold wealth, a cornucopia of food, and a noble family destined to visit the Tsar in St. Petersburg. A family that includes Ekaterina Yeah, Ekaterina, a girl of Alina's age. When the two girls' lives collide, an adventure is set in motion. An escapade that includes mistaken identity, a monk locked in a tower, a prince traveling incognito, and a starring role only Gregory Maguire could have conjured. Baba Yaga, witch of Russian folklore, in her ambulatory house perched on chicken legs. Oh, I love that. I think the last two times, coincidentally, the last two times I visited my sister, um, I was wearing, I have this shirt that has Baba Yaga houses on it, and my sister's kid is like 4, and they're always like, I like your walking houses. It's so cute. Um, I So, that sounds delightful. I wonder if I could find that shirt, because it's adorable, and y'all should be blessed enough to see it. Let me see. I just want to make sure that I'm pulling up the right store or whatever, but yes, I'm pretty sure this is like the actual store, not pirating. So yeah, the store is called the Winter Den Shop. And this is the shirt. And I've happened to wear it twice around my sister's kid now, and they're like, your shirt has walking houses. And then they even pointed at this one and was like, there's a skeleton on this house. Anyway, I was like, yeah, Baba Yaga's a little morbid. But I really love this shirt, and there's stickers too. Ugh. Not that I need them, but I want them, you know? They have mossy houses. That's so cute. Maybe I'll have to ask for that for Christmas. This is the house I want to live in. Out of all of these 5 houses, which house do you want to live in? This is my house. Okay. House A, House B, House C, House D, or House E? House D comes with a pet snail. But honestly, all of them would be top tier. But wearing this shirt has been so great. It's just a, like, whatever that brand is, Bella Canvas, but it's so soft. It's very, very comfy, and I wear it literally all the time. I should get more of their shirts. Haunted houses? Shut up. I wonder if they have a haunted houses shirt. No. But they have summer ghosts. So cute. Anyway, I've only bought one thing from them, but A+, do recommend. Although it's like, I wonder where they're based, if they're even possible to buy from now. You know? If you're based in the US, or if you're not in the US, if you can buy from them, or anything like that, you know? Ugh. So cute. These haunted houses are adorable. Okay. Baba Yaga. Why is it such a bad quality cover? Yeah, this one's really bad too. I don't know. It looks so cute and so fun. And it actually has a pretty good rating for Gregory Maguire. 6.3 is like gotta be one of his highest rated books. Let me see. So it looks like Oracle of Maracor has a higher rating, and so does Out of Oz and The Witch of Maracor. But yeah, this and Watercress are two of the highest rated ones, which is interesting. I've read a couple of his books. I didn't really like Wicked, but Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister I actually did like quite a bit. I also liked Leaping Beauty also quite a bit. After Alice I liked. I'm like, is that everything I've read by him? It might be. So I've wanted to try more things by him, and I think I would enjoy his children's stuff more than his adult stuff, possibly, because I liked Sleeping Beauty. Fantasy, historical fiction. I'm actually reading, this one right now, The Firebird and Other Russian Fairy Tales. I'm like halfway through the first one. There's 4 stories in here. And the illustrations are gorgeous by Boris Vorikin? Oh, I'm so sorry. I probably butchered that. But yeah, I'm excited about the ones that are in here. So I don't know Maria Morvenna? But I know the Firebird, the Snow Maiden, and Vasilisa the Fair, or the Brave, or however you want to say. So I'm excited about this one, but right now I'm in the middle of the Firebird. And holy shit, that boy is stupid. But it's very fun to read, and the illustrations are gorgeous. I bought it secondhand for like $9 at a used bookstore like many years ago, and I'm glad I did because it's been very enjoyable. But let's see. Makes me want to read more stuff with the Firebird. Okay. The 5th season. I think I'm ready to get rid of a lot of basic fantasy books. Like Cameron Miles, I'm looking at you. I'm not looking at M.K. Jemisin. I'm very excited to read this. I don't even need to read what it's about because I know I'm going to read this. LGBT, yay! Oh, I'm glad I expanded that. So fantasy, sci-fi, LGBT. Okay. Like, there hasn't been one of those in a long time. Okay. I feel like this would be better in the spring or summer for me because it is long and it's going to be like denser and harder. Like, I feel like that would be better, but yeah. And this was already on my trans TBR, I guess, because there's a trans character. But I'm so excited to read this. Like, I truly hope I love it, but I've never read anything by N.K. Jemisin, even though I really, really want to. I cannot believe I haven't. The Forward Collection. But I don't think that this will be the first thing that I read by her. I think I probably will start with The Inheritance, because 100,000 Kingdoms, just because it seems a little lighter and easier to get into. And I know that Broken Earth will probably blow my ever-living brain. How Long Till Black Future Month sounds amazing. Really need to read it. And The City We Become also sounds amazing and seems like it will blow my brain. Maybe not as hard as the 5th season, but anyway, I'm so excited about all of her books. Okay, this is so fun. Because Mari was just talking about rereading this book and reading the rest of the series recently, which was very silly and fun. Not silly that she's reading it, but just silly because it's just like fun to see her talking about books, and I hadn't checked her. She hasn't even marked it. I don't see it. But I hadn't seen. My name is Marina's, by the way. But I hadn't seen her. I hadn't checked her TikTok for like a week, and she posted like 6 videos, and I was like, damn, what the hell? But she was saying that she does really like this series. Also, Sana loves this apparently, and I love Sana. So she has a bed and breakfast. I feel like the bed and breakfast, I don't know, does it have its own personality? I'm not sure, but it is like a waypoint or whatever, and has like a, can like, is a place where people can like go between worlds and things like that. Anyway, I did read the first maybe third of this a couple years ago, maybe like 2022, and I just like couldn't get into it even though I was enjoying it, but I was reading a bunch of other things at the time as well, so I didn't even DNF it. I just like set it aside. So I'm definitely want to try this again. I've struggled with Ilona Andrews before though. They so the Hidden Legacy series really went downhill for me. I really liked the first book a lot. The second book was good. Like, I liked it. And then the third book I really disliked. And then I think this series, the 4th book, starts following someone new. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll try that one. But then I never did. And then I just barely tried Kate Daniels. And I did like it. So, I don't know. But I will try this. And I think it's just fantasy and romance, maybe? What is this? Yeah, fantasy romance. Oh, this says science fiction. Okay. I think there might be aliens in this or something. Okay. The Gene and Intimate History. Wow, this is such high ratings. And it's not even that popular. Like 50,000 is not that many. Spanning for how many people I've seen talk about this book and how it was like a New York Times bestseller for a really long time. Wasn't it? Or am I thinking of a different book? I'm pretty sure it was. Okay. The Gene, an Intimate History. I Spanning the globe and several centuries, the gene is a story of the quest to decipher the master code that makes and defines humans, that governs our form and function. The story of the gene begins in an obscure Augustinian abbey in Moravia in 1856, where a monk stumbles on the idea of a unit of heredity. It intersects with Darwin's theory of evolution and collides with the horrors of Nazi eugenics in the 1940s. The gene transforms post-war biology. It reorganized our understanding of sexuality, temperament, choice, and free will. This is a story driven by human ingenuity and obsessive minds. I feel like me reading out these like copies are like really showing how bad of a reader I am. Okay, it's just like hard when you have to read them all out loud. There's some big words sometimes, and it's like when you're reading, then you just like garble it in your brain and you don't actually have to say it out loud. Okay. Book Olive gave it 4 stars, and I'm pretty sure Rachel really loved this, and that's when I added it to my TBR, was when Rachel was raving about it way back in the day. Oh, well, even after that, because apparently she added it a long time ago, but I feel like I remember watching one of her videos and being like, that sounds so interesting, but being scared to add it to my TBR because I was like, I feel like I will never understand this, but I feel like I could understand more of it than I could have in 2017. And this is a science nonfiction. Okay, Miles Cameron. This better be the best frickin' description of a book ever for me to keep it. Even though so many people love this book, it's just, I don't know. Just basic fantasy written by men, just doesn't. 28 florins a month is a huge price to pay for a man to stand between you and the wild. 28 florins a month is nowhere near enough when a wyvern's jaw snaps shut on your helmet in the hot stink of battle, and the beast starts to rip the head from your shoulders. But if standing and fighting is hard, leading a company of men, or worse, a company of mercenaries against the smart, deadly creatures of the wild is even harder. It takes all the advantages of birth, training, and the luck of the devil to do it. The Red Knight has all 3. He has youth on his side and is determined to turn a profit. So when he hires his company out to protect an abbess and her nunnery, it's just another job. The abbey is rich, the nuns are pretty, and the monster preying on them is nothing he can't deal with. Only it's not just another job, it's going to be a war. Okay. I don't know. So many people loved this back in the day. 2016, everybody was raving about it. And it doesn't sound interesting enough for me to read, to be honest. The middle raster of head. Long ago, the wizards had vanished from the world, and all knowledge was left in riddles. Morgan, prince of the simple farmers of Head, proves himself a master of such riddles when he staked his life to win a crown from the dead lord of But now ancient evil forces were threatening him. Shape changers began replacing friends until no man could be trusted. So Morgan was forced to flee to hostile kingdoms, seeking the High One who ruled from mysterious Erlenstar Mountain. Beside him went Death, the High One's harper. Ahead lay strange encounters and terrifying adventures, and with him always was the greatest of unsolved riddles, the nature of the 3 stars on his forehead that seemed to drive him towards his towards his ultimate destiny. Weird. Okay, so I definitely want to try it. Patricia A. McKillop, as I talked about in previous ones, has... Oh no! Okay, Kara did not like this book. But Patricia A. McKillop, I feel like I must love all of her books because one of her cover artists is one of my favorite artists. Not this cover artist, but a different cover artist. But Kara didn't like this one. I still want to try other things for this author. Kitty didn't like this one. Rachel gave this one 4 stars. And Patricia Reedy gave it 5 stars. So there's some hope. I'm still gonna give it a shot, but I'll go in trepidatiously. Excuse me. And it's short. It's very short. Here's another one. Another much loved fantasy. Okay. Before we get into it though, I need some water because I'm out and my throat is starting to hurt. So I will be back in like a couple minutes. I'm gonna get water, go to the bathroom again. Okay. Sebastian de Castell, do you have what it takes to stay on my fantasy TBR? Because I doubt it, but I'll give it a try. I'll read the synopsis. So many people have loved this. I think J.D. Ray is the first person that comes to mind of like the true like massive lover of this book and this series, but I don't know. Falcio is the first cantor of the Greatcoats, trained in the fighting arts and the laws of Tristia. The Greatcoats are traveling magisters upholding King's law. They are heroes, or at least they were until they stood aside when the Duke took the kingdom and impaled their king's head on a spike. Now Tristia is on the verge of collapse and the barbarians are sniffing at the borders. The Dukes bring chaos to the land while the Greatcoats are scattered far and wide, reviled as traitors, their legendary coats in tatters. All they have left are promises they made to King Palus to carry out one final mission. But if they have any hope of fulfilling the king's dream, the divided Greatcoats must unite, or they will also have to stand aside as they watch their world burn. Yeah, so many friends have loved this and read it and raved about it. Here's Melanie loving on it. It doesn't sound bad. Like, I'm sure it would be perfectly fine if I did read it, but I don't know. Oh, I forgot that this was the same author, Spellsinger. I don't think I care enough. Again, like, I want there to be something different. I want some diversity in my fantasy books nowadays. I just want there to be something different. And I think if I read it, it would be, yeah, like I said, I think it would be perfectly fine if I did read it, but I don't know. And if I feel like I've made a mistake, I can always add them back to my TBR, but it's like, I don't know. Nothing has pulled me to read it in the last 8 years since I added it to my TBR. I don't think I have any desire to pick it up in the next 8 years. And I'm like trying to only keep things on my TBR that I'm like, oh yes, I can see myself picking this up in the next like 1 or 2 years. Especially since I'm gonna make like a concerted effort to like try to read the very oldest books on my TBR. The stuff that's like on page 1, it's like that is the stuff I'm gonna try to like push the hardest to try to read right away. I just want to get the oldest books off. Okay. 2001: A Space Odyssey. Classic sci-fi. Maybe I should switch to a different edition that doesn't say Neil Gaiman. I don't know. I'm like, what has a pretty cover? Like, none of them? I guess this one's kind of interesting. Okay. So that from the savannas of Africa to at the dawn of mankind to the rings of Saturn as men ventures to the outer rim of the solar system, 2001: A Space Odyssey is a journey unlike any other, which I have not seen the movie, by the way. This allegory about humanity's exploration of the universe and the universe's reaction to humanity is a hallmark achievement in storytelling that follows the crew of the spacecraft Discovery as they embark on a mission to Saturn. Their vessel is controlled by HAL 9000, an artificially intelligent supercomputer capable of the highest level of cognitive functioning that rivals and perhaps threatens the human mind. Yeah, definitely interested in reading sci-fi, classic. Nice. Oh. Shards of Honor. These are some interesting covers. I actually don't mind this one. I think it's maybe better than this one, but it's not in English. And I do try to keep the books in English, despite caring about the covers pretty intensely. When Cordelia Naismith and her survey crew are attacked by a renegade group from Barrayer, she is taken prisoner by Arl Vorgos. I'm not gonna say that, sorry. Commander of the Barian ship that has been taken over by an ambitious and ruthless crew member. Arl and Cordelia survive countless mishaps while their mutual admiration and even stronger feelings emerge. Interesting. So, sci-fi romance. I have heard really good things about Bujold in general. And this is the first in this series. Yeah, and it's like almost all my friends are like, really like this book. Rachel loves it. Yeah. But that cover certainly is something. Like, maybe I should switch to this one. Doesn't feel as romancy, though. I think that's kind of why I like this one, because I'm like, ooh, yeah, old sci-fi romance. Sci-fi romance. It says fantasy as well. Like, is that accurate? Okay. The Children of Green No, which I've never read. I've never read anything by this author. I don't know if I care. Like, I kind of did for a while, just because I was very into, like, reading classics and stuff. But, oh, by the way, I didn't put this one in, oh, I did put this one in classic, but this one not, because it's not quite a classic. Too contemporary. And Riddle Master of Head isn't quite a classic. It's a year too short of being a classic. According to my rules. In a year, I'll have to go through and find all the books from 96 and add them to classic. Okay. The Children of Green No. There are 3 children. Toby, who rides a majestic horse, Vest, his mischievous little sister Lynette, and their brother Alexander, who plays the flute. The children warmly welcome Tully the Green No, even though they've been dead for centuries. What? Even though they've been dead for centuries? But that's how everything is at Green No. The ancient manor hides as many stories as it does dusty old rooms. And the master of the house is a great-grandmother, Old No, whose storytelling mixes present and past with the oldest magic in the world. Ellen Boston's thrilling and chilling tales of Green Knowe, a haunted manor deep in an overgrown garden in an English countryside, have been entertaining readers for half a century. Okay, maybe I am interested in, because that sounds... What the hell? I didn't realize this was like ghost fiction. Yeah, I want to give that a shot. Look at this cover. What the hell? That's crazy. Okay. Well, I feel stupid for not trying this sooner, because that sounds so interesting. I am worried because, I mean, some other books that are maybe contemporary are racist. The Enchanted Castle. But I still want to try it. I think I would have liked this more had I not seen the movie first. The movie was directed by Downton Abbey creator Julian Fellows and starred Maggie Smith. Interesting. Rachel loves this one. We can always trust Rachel. Okay. I definitely want to try that. Okay. I don't think I'd ever actually read what that was about. I did not mean to click on that. God damn it. But I feel absolutely delighted knowing what that's about. Okay. Classic fantasy. What else is it? Yeah, that's it. Classics and fantasy. Okay. The Forest of a Thousand Lanterns. Ugh. What is this a retelling of? It says it's a retelling. Did I know this was a retelling? The Evil Queen legend? Backstory for the vague Snow White retelling? I did not know this was a retelling. This is wild. I feel like I know when everything is a retelling. Okay. An East Asian fairy fantasy reimagining of the Evil Queen legend about one peasant girl's quest to become empress and the darkness she must unleash to achieve her destiny. 18-year-old... Oh, I'm not good at some of these pronunciations. I'm just gonna say it very English. I'm sorry, I know it's wrong. Zyfeng is beautiful. Is it more like key? Is it an XI? More like that? I don't know. The stars, like, I wonder if I could look this up. Let me see, like, where are the headphones? Like, there should be headphones around here. Okay. Qifeng. Okay, let me try that. Okay. 18-year-old Qifeng is beautiful. The stars say she is destined for greatness, that she is meant to be Empress of Fanglu, but only if she embraces the darkness within her. Growing up as a peasant in a forgotten village on the edge of the map, Qifeng longs to fulfill the destiny promised to her by her cruel aunt, the witch Guma, who has read the cards and sees glimmers of Shifeng's majestic future. But is the price of the throne too high? Because in order to achieve greatness, she must spurn the young man who loves her and exploits the callous magic that runs through her veins, sorcery fueled by eating the hearts of the recently killed. For the god who has sent her on this journey will not be satisfied until his power is absolute. Jeez. Okay. Okay. Just reading through this one. Let's see. Because I think it is interesting to see, like, what East Asian authors are saying about this East Asian book, or East Asian readers, I guess, are saying about this East Asian book. But it is own voices, so, okay. I didn't know she had come out with anything recently. Oh, it's adult? Vampire adult. Dracula's Lucy Wisternra. It's not highly rated. Penny Dreadful and Danielle L. Jensen. Interesting. Okay. I'll give it a try. I'm not like... Julie Dow. Okay. I don't know that it would be like a 5-star for me, but I'm willing to try it. I think I'm always more inclined to try fairy tale retellings. And I think doing like an evil queen thing is more interesting than what other people do. Don't necessarily love that it's a romance, but I'll just still give it a shot. Fantasy and romance. Okay. Hidden Sea. Okay, so I do want to give this a shot, even though it has like the worst ratings ever. So it's a Nutcracker retelling. It's an origin of with the life of Drosselmeyer, the toy maker who carved the Nutcracker. So I did start this right when it first came out in 2017. I did not get very far and was like, oh, I'm gonna try this later. So I'm gonna try it again, but I am willing to DNF it if I don't vibe with it. Very bad ratings, though. Oof. Okay. Rough. Fantasy, historical fiction. And it is a winter book. I would probably try to read it around Christmas time. Okay. Nnedi Okorafor. Oh, Nnedi Okorafor. I was so excited to read her, like, the third Binti book. I was planning on trying to do that this year. And she was, I don't know. I recently found out she has, like, a long history online of just being weird. Like, racist and misogynistic, and I don't know, just like when like the Me Too movement was really taking off, there was like tweets that she tweeted saying like, I know we should like do you really expect me to believe all women? And I think the most recent thing that kind of brought it up was that there was like an indigenous, like Native American, who had asked her to like post a trigger warning before posting owls because it could be triggering to her. And instead of like Nnedi Okorafor saying like, well, owls aren't triggering to like me and they're not like a bad omen in my culture, so I'm not gonna do that, like, but I respect your culture. Instead she said something like how like indigenous, like Native Americans are just like a different breed, which was really weird. And I guess I don't know, there's just like a lot of stuff that she said online that has been like weird, where she's just said strange things. And I guess this is a thing that has been known. And I don't know, I don't necessarily love some of the stuff that I was like reading, some of her tweets that she had been saying. It felt kind of weird. Those are just like two of the examples that stood out to me the most. Like, I don't think calling indigenous people like a strange breed or like an odd breed or whatever she said is right. And then I don't know. And then also being like, you just expect me to believe all women is just like a wild thing to say. So that was weird. I don't know. Oh, sorry. That was an accident. Sorry. So I think I'm gonna just take... I only have like 2 books on my TBR by her. Just the final Binti book and then a Kato Witch. Is that what it's called? But I think I'm just gonna... Yeah, a Kato Witch. I think I'm just gonna like call it quits as it is and just choose to read some other authors. Unless you know information that you think I'm wrong and stupid. Which, please enlighten me if you do. But it just felt very weird learning all that stuff. I only learned it like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was just like, what the hell? Why are you saying this stuff? Like, legitimately, I put it on my autumn equinox TBR. I was legitimately gonna try to read the the third book for that. And I just see that it's blurred by Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman, why are you everywhere? Get out of here. I legitimately see him everywhere. You little worm, go away. Anyway, I really did like the first two books in this, but I don't know. It's like, will I enjoy it more than the ick that I feel? And I feel like, no, I won't. So, there's probably like a Reddit post about it. And if you want my help like finding it or anything, yeah, just let me know. But it was just odd. I was like, what are you doing? Okay. We're on to some nonfiction. Okay. Dead Mountain, the untold true story of the Dyatov Pass incident. Which I'm not necessarily super interested in this incident in general. I've just heard that this is like a very good nonfiction book. In February 1959, a group of 9 experienced hikers in the Russian Ural Mountain died mysteriously on an elevation known as Dead Mountain. Eerie aspects of the incident, unexplained violent injuries, signs that they had cut open and fled the tent without proper clothing or shoes, a strange final photograph taken by one of the hikers, and elevated levels of radiation found on some of their clothes, have led to decades of speculation over what really happened. This gripping work of literary nonfiction delves into the mystery through unprecedented access to the hikers' own journals and photographs, rarely seen government records, dozens of interviews, and the author's retracing of the hikers' fateful journey in the Russian winter. A fascinating portrait of the young hikers in the Soviet era, and a skillful interweaving of the hikers' narrative and the investigators' efforts and the author's investigations. Here, for the first time, is the real story of what happened that night on Dead Mountain. I don't know. I feel a little torn about it. It does sound interesting. It's definitely not like the type of thing that I normally read, and I think if I did read it, I would probably enjoy it, but it's not like my cup of tea typically. Like, I don't think like true crimes are necessarily what I would enjoy, but it's not like necessarily, I think, also your typical kind of true crime. I think I'm gonna give it a shot, see how it goes. Plantagenet Princess, Tudor Queen, the story of Elizabeth of York. Okay. I was just looking at the author for a second, Samantha Wilcoxon, because for a second I was like, is this what's her face? Who's everywhere? Alison Weir? Is that who that is? Is Alison Weir who I was thinking of? Who has written like 80 million books? And I'm like, bitch, how are any of these, like, okay, 30 distinct works, but 30 books? That's so many books to have written. And she writes fiction and nonfiction, and I'm like, how have you written so many books? That is actually, I don't know, mind-boggling to me. Especially like a nonfiction kind of writer. But I was thinking about reading this one, Queens of the Age of Chivalry. Medieval queens were seen as mere dynastic trophies, yet many of the Plantagenet queens of the High Middle Ages dramatically broke away from the restrictions imposed on their sex, as Alison Weir shows in the gripping group biographies of the Queen of the of England's 14th century consorts. Using personal letters and wonderfully vivid sources, Alison Weir evokes the lives of five remarkable Marguerite of France, Isabella of France, Philippa of Hainault, Anne of Bohemia, and Isabella of Valois. The turbulent, brutal age of chivalry witnessed the Black Death, the Peasants' Revolt, the 100 Years' War against France, and savaged baronial wars against the monarchy in which these queens were passionately involved. Queens of the Age of Chivalry brilliantly recreates the truly dramatic period of history through the lives of five extraordinary women. I don't know. I think this is one of the ones that I'm more interested in by her. That's one of her more recent ones. But I am just like very interested in this time period in history. And also, I don't know. But maybe also like love this art. 1299 to 1409. I think this is definitely one of the... Isabella of France, later known as the She-Wolf, dethroned her husband Edward II and ruled England with her lover. Okay, that does sound interesting to read about. And she has been like hit or miss with me, Alison Weir. I know we're not even talking about this author, but I got distracted. Like, I really loved the one about the life of Elizabeth I. It's from the 90s. But then I tried to read a fiction book about Elizabeth I, and I fucking hated it. It was awful. So, I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to this one. Plantagenet, Princess, Tudor Queen, the story of Elizabeth of York. She was the mother of Henry VIII, the wife of Henry VII, but who was Elizabeth of York? Raised as the precious oldest child of Edward Edward IV, Elizabeth had every reason to expect a bright future until Edward died and her life fell apart. When Elizabeth's uncle became Richard III, she was forced to choose sides. Should she trust her father's brother and most loyal supporter, or honor the betrothal that her mother had made for her to her family's enemy, Henry Tudor? The choice was made for her on the field at Bosworth, and Elizabeth, the Plantagenet princess, became the first Tudor queen. Did Elizabeth find happiness with Henry? Did she ever discover the truth about her missing brothers, who became known as the princes in the Tower? Jesus Christ. Lose yourself in Elizabeth's world in Plantagenet Princess Tudor Queen. Okay, yeah. I'm definitely interested in trying it. I don't know anybody. I'm like saying as if like I'm actually friends with all these people, and I'm like, no. I mean, of course Diana has added it. Diana has like 20,000 books on her Goodreads or more. So she's added everything. But I'm like, I don't really know these people. I'm like, I parasocially know them, but like I don't actually know these people. But yeah, I'll give this one a try. Diana, load. It's probably not loading because you have too many frickin' books. Okay. I don't think I would want to read that in the winter. Okay. Literally, her thing will not load. That's just so funny. Ugh. I was hoping it would so I could show how many she had. Okay, Foundation. The history of England from its earliest beginnings to the Tudors. So something that I think is super interesting is that Peter Ackroyd just came out with a book. Wasn't he the one that just came out with a book about, like, gay England? Gay London? Was that Peter Ackroyd? Or am I making that up? Queer City. Gay London from the Romans to the present day. Ooh, that has really low ratings, though. Why does it have really low ratings? Oh, Diana read it, though. Diana. 20,000 was a little bit of a under exaggeration. 123,000. Diana! What is this? Okay. With peace and love. How is your brain not exploding? On her to read shelf. Okay. Oof. Okay. But who is rating it? Oh, well, people are mostly giving it 3 stars, so that's not bad. I was like, are people just bombing it with 1-star reviews? Because, okay, there's a book. I added it. I categorized it without you all. I think it was before this. This one. Bless This Mouse by Lois Lowry? I don't know how to say his name. And literally, it doesn't have the highest ratings ever. It's not like horrible, but it doesn't have the highest ratings. And I was kind of looking through, seeing if people liked it or not. And literally every bad review was talking about how this was like pro-abortion. They're like, this is a population control book. This book is woke. And I was like, So I left it on my TBR so I can read this woke pro-abortion children's book. I don't know. It was weird. How angry people were getting. Like, that's what, like, every single 1-star was. 1 and 2 stars were like, I can't believe this book. This whole book is based on the concept of population control. Hildegard is trying to keep mice from reproducing. Blah, blah, blah. She doesn't want babies to starve. She's evil. It was weird. Every bad review was about that. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to give this book a try then. Because, like, people are being wild about it. Anyway. I'm like, is this what Queer City is about? Are people just mad that it's gay? It's just anecdote after anecdote. Oof. Okay. Okay, no. It seems like people have good reasons for not liking this book. Because, like, the people who are reading it and not liking it are like, yes, I wanted to read a book about queer people. And then got slop. Which is sad. Okay. Life and Gay Culture, A World History by Robert Aldrich. In the years since Stonewall... Okay. This does sound better. Sometimes I even just add things that I'm like, oh yes, I'll try that later. Or I'll look into that later. I definitely want to look at these later. Okay, I don't want to read The Gay Book by Peter Ackroyd. I have decided. Sounds oof. But Foundation, the history of England from its earliest beginnings to the Tudors. So this is like a whole series. Peter Ackroyd, whose work has always been underpinned by a profound interest in and understanding of England's history, now tells the epic story of England itself. In Foundation, the chronicler of London and of its river, the Thames, is that how you say that? Takes us from the primeval forests of England's prehistory to the death in 1509 to the first Tudor king, Henry VII. He guides us from the building of Stonehenge to the founding of the two great glories of medieval England, common law and the cathedrals. He shows us glimpses of the country's most distant past, a Neolithic stirrup found in a grave, a Roman fort, a Saxon tomb, a medieval manor house, and describes in rich prose the successive waves of invaders who made England English, despite being themselves Roman, Viking, Saxon, or Norman French. With his extraordinary skill for invoking time and place and his acute eye for telling detail, Ackroyd recounts the story of warring kings, of civil strife, of foreign wars, but he also gives us a vivid sense of how England's early people lived, the homes they built, the clothes they wore, the food they ate, even the jokes they told. All are brought vividly into life throughout the narrative mastery of one of Britain's finest writers. Yeah, I definitely think the time period of England that I'm most interested in, and just Europe in general that I'm most interested in, is definitely like 1000 to like 1400. And I don't think I'm interested in most of his books. But I think I'm willing to give a couple of them a try, because I never have tried anything by him. And then if I don't like them, I can just take stuff off his TBR. But it worries me how badly this one has been received, because yikes. You know? Okay. So we did do over 30 books today. And I say over because we got through this entire thing, plus I deleted several. And even though I added several, we still deleted like almost 10. We deleted over 10 because I added several. Should I... Oh my gosh, this whole next thing is almost entirety nonfiction. Oh no. I mean, at least my nonfiction sections will go up though, because they were very low before. Okay, so here's another Alison Weir. I'm like, I don't know if I should keep going tonight or if I should call it quits. So I'm like, I did do over 30, which is a lot, but something else I've been doing, because I have some that are on no audio and picture. So since I have some that are on no audio, I did go through and for because I add them to this shelf if there is no audiobook, but they are like a legit book that has no, that isn't like a graphic novel or a picture book or something. And I did go through and double check that none of these books had gotten audiobooks in the last however long since I added them all to the shelf. And I only did that up until here, March 2016. And now we're all the way through until October 2017. So there's just absolutely oodles of books now that don't have audiobooks, that I want to check if they do have audiobooks as well. But also, I'm going to be coming through here and I want to be reading these descriptions and also making sure that I want to keep these on my physical TBR. Well, not my physical TBR, because I don't own most of these books. I own a few of them, but I don't own most of these. But keep them on my physical TBR, meaning like, is it worth physically reading these books? Is it going to be worth like going out and hunting these books down physically or on ebook and sitting down and reading them instead of listening to the audiobook? Because I just prefer an audiobook. Like, I don't mind reading physically even. For a while, it was much rougher because it just triggered my pain so much and stuff, but now, I'm on multiple like migraine medications and stuff, and like before I was on those, like I had like daily nausea and I just like felt so awful all the time, and it's like I still have bad patches, but I think I'm much more inclined to read physically now than I ever was in the past, just because like even though my neck still does hurt, I'm not like getting nauseous all the time, and I can like take meds and put stuff on my neck and like help myself feel better and then like read and like feel okay. So I'm more likely to read, and it's like not as big of a deal, I feel like, as it used to be, because that was why I didn't read physically for so long, was just because one, I do enjoy audio more, but then two, like reading physically just hurt and it sucked. I didn't like doing it. So I think I am going to start going through here, because I've only got up to the Swan Maiden, I remember, is here I got. So I'm going to have to start going through all these and just checking that none of them have had an audiobook come out, which they probably haven't, but a couple of them might have. And then if they have, then I can add them over and I'll categorize them as I do that. But anyway, I think that's it for today's stream. But then once I do finish like my want to read shelf, then I will go through no audio probably and these other ones and just like make sure that I want to keep them on my TBR and things. But I don't know. It's good to feel like reading again. I didn't for so long. It's not even that I didn't feel like reading. It's just like couldn't get myself invested in reading. And I don't know. I think that's it. Okay, I'll stop dawdling. But anybody who tuned in throughout and anybody who's watching on the replay, I appreciate you for being here. Y'all are so lovely and kind, and I appreciate you are supporting me through different times. And I will see you all hopefully in the next couple weeks when I'm able to do another stream. Bye, everyone.